right, we have two people to speak at a visitor citizens forum. Remember, we are here to hear them, not to comment or to participate, unless it's factual response. First up, we have Rico Herrera. Please come to the podium, sir. State your name and address.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rico Herrera. My address is 19932 FM 463. I'm up there, over there going towards the cost. A short introduction. I'm initially from here. I was born in Hondo. The first house I ever lived in is the first house I ever lived in was right here on Zigzag. My dad was a firefighter out here back in the 80s. I have a pretty strong connection with the community. I was gone for about 15 years, so I've been back about 2 years. But recently, I just wanted to see how I can become involved, essentially, and I know y'all have a website that y'all are trying to work on. So I'm trying to see if I can offer my services. As somebody that's worked on websites, I work for one of the biggest web hosting companies in the country. Sorry. Nervous. It's my first time here, but yeah. I work for one of the second largest web hosting companies in the country. I've worked on hundreds, if not thousands, of websites. I know how to manage servers. I know how to manage DNS. Right now, the website, I don't know if y'all intend for it to be live or not, but it's not live. And I believe I know why. I don't know, if y'all check it, the domain isn't resolving correctly. So if it's supposed to be live right now, the name servers are supposed to be pointed, or the A record is supposed to be pointed correctly. That's something I can help manage. Yeah, that's essentially what I want to talk about. I sent my resume and an email earlier to the city administrator at City of Devine with all of my information. I want to come down here and talk and see if I can offer my services. And I want to get more involved with the community, and I feel like this is the way that's relevant to my skill sets.
All right. Okay. Well, we appreciate your comments, and you already did the right thing by sending things in. And this isn't the panel for that, but the city administrator, I'm sure, will get with you one way or another. But thank you very, very much for your interest.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. We also have Dallas Collins. Dallas, do we should speak now, or are we here for the agenda item? Okay. Okay. No worries. Okay. For everyone to know, we have an agenda item later, which will include Mr. Collins. All right. That concludes Visitor Citizens Forum. Do we have any public recognition, David?
No, sir.
Okay. No public recognition at this time. Employee recognition, agenda item number 5.
No, sir, not at this time.
Okay. All right. And also, agenda item number 6 is a presentation for animal control. The person is not in attendance, so we will move on to agenda item number 7. Okay, agenda item number 7 would be an audit review. We recently got back our audit from our auditors. Everything was good. We didn't have any deficiencies or anything of that nature, so we're very happy with that. But our city accountant is going to give us an overview so we can gauge our effectiveness with the budget, or at least try to go over some things. This is a valuable tool for us to use when we get to the next budget, so we can decide where our weaknesses might have been, where our shortcomings might have been, where our successes were, and on down the line. So that would bring our city accountant to the Denise, you want to go to the podium, but I think you need a mic, no matter where you're at. Okay. Please go to the podium so you have a mic and Denise Duffy, this is our city accountant. Can you see if you get the mic right there? There you go. Oh, really? Okay. That's better. Yeah.
So I know Dusty went over the audit, so I'm not really sure what all kind of questions you're wanting me to overview, because we did that. Do y'all have y'all's audit? Do you have specific questions?
Yes, I do. I was just wondering maybe to start off with, you being our accountant and such, very familiar with all the numbers and everything, just to go over some of the things that you thought were positives for us, weaknesses for us. I mean, according to your interpretation and your review also, because remember, the firm that audits us is not gauging whether we did a good job with our budget. What they're gauging is that it was accounted for properly internally, okay, which we passed quite well. But they don't really say, well, you budgeted $200,000 here, you spent $240,000 here, why, and those kind of things. Okay, so the financial audit does just that. So it doesn't gauge effectiveness. Okay, it just gauges the internal controls and the correct reporting of the expenditure of taxpayer money. So I was kind of hoping maybe we just have everybody here to talk about things that are in the budget that are good, because this will become necessary come July when we get back in here again for workshops.
I know one of your questions was on the property tax, why we were at a shortfall on that.
Yeah,
And that is,
Yeah.
so we budget 100% of our property tax. We say we're going to collect 100%. We actually collected 87, roughly.
So are you able to conduct any analysis that shows a correlation between annual housing sales or trends in the market to the anticipated real estate tax that we'll get?
Our property tax values come from the county.
Yep.
So y'all regulate what our tax rate is, which regulates how much money we will be getting. So we don't do that, no, sir. That's all done through the appraisal district.
Right, based on assessments of property value, which part of that is how much houses are selling for. And so if we have a lot of inventory in the markets moving or not moving, that's going to have an impact. I don't know if there's any sort of correlation. That's all math magic to me, and I don't do math. Do you have any year-over-year spending concerns that we have? Are we going up in any area? Do we have any dips? What are our projections looking like? What do we need to project for? What happens maybe every 5 or 10 years to we need to plan for?
A lot of your plannings, we need to consider the fact that we are old infrastructure. Not only our water lines and our sewer lines, but our buildings. We're replacing the building for the well yard. But we need to look, you've got a city hall that we've outgrown. Dora and I, city hall, our city hall, we have completely outgrown.
Oh, outgrown, okay, sorry.
I mean, we're using the old council chambers as a storage room and a printing office. So those are things that y'all need to look at. But that's going to be down the road. I know our biggest concern right now is all of our water infrastructure that we're working on.
Yeah, we got that planned here before too long, okay, on the rates that as soon as we get that report in and such. So basically, some questions I have, for example, we start off an original budget at $1.33 million for property tax revenue, okay, and then in our final internal audit from us, okay, I assume this is because we actually hire an auditor that to prepare us for the financial audit, right? So our final numbers were 1.2 million. Okay, so now the questions I'm going to ask are not meant to be critical or saying anything. Most of it is for my understanding, okay? So we end up basically in property tax projection, right? Now, we're not supposed to include property taxes that are under protest, correct?
The county has their formula, Melissa has that formula.
Right, and that's on another line item when you get your report from the county. So we started off anticipating $1.37 million of property tax revenue, but then the final amount after the audit was $307,000 less than what was anticipated. So that to me, I would kind of like to analyze and figure out how we could be off by almost 20 some odd percent.
That is part of the, I mean, we get our calculations from the county. So they give us a percentage, or they calculate a percentage of what is in protest that is added in. So whether it's a win or a loss for the city, I mean, those final numbers are from the county and not us. Yes, ma'am.
Aren't they also, what we receive is what's been actually paid on, like, I paid my taxes, so city gets my little portion and your portion, your
Well, that's
portion.
what I'm asking.
But if you didn't pay, and you didn't pay, and
Yeah.
you didn't pay, then we don't get money.
Right.
So is that 13% people not paying their taxes?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what
Okay,
I'm-
that's why we're short.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So it seems like an awful lot of people didn't pay their taxes. So, but don't we also factor in a percentage that's not gonna get paid? No, just the protest amounts. So, and the protest amounts that get denied don't offset the people that haven't paid just yet. Okay, okay. So then the other thing that concerns me on that, so our numbers that we turn into the financial auditor have 1.2 million, but then I guess it's, when he applies gap basis to it, ends up being $200,000 different? Which is, okay, if you go to the final and right, and then the actual, okay, there's a discrepancy of $156,000.
And that's what I was saying, that part of that is we only collected roughly 87% of our tax.
Yeah, but the final budget, our internal final numbers are what we collected. That's what you should show when you present it to the financial auditor, right? So then, but how does he end up showing that we collected even more, even less of $157,000 approximately? If you go to the variance with the final budget, I'm on page 44, which is pretty much what we as a council can consider when our budget comes July.
So when we calculate the original budget that y'all adopt, that is at the rate that y'all set, and we say we're going to collect. Then our final budget is, we look at it and we say we're going to still, by the end of September, we're hoping we can get to this point.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
the amended budget that y'all adopt. So the
Right.
final numbers are what we actually came in to after they've done all of their calculations.
Okay. So when we give all these numbers to the financial auditor, they're still not complete, we're still waiting on things.
Right,
Okay.
because they have to calculate what I collect in October is most likely part of September's collection, so they have to
True.
They have to move the monies around.
Okay, okay, all righty.
Do you know a percentage of taxes that were not collected this year versus last year and the previous year?
We're still collecting this year. Right now, we're at about 88% collection for this year.
So you can't project a certain date it takes to get to collect. So we don't collect any of the
The
data.
county can send me $5,000 this week for collections. Next week, they can send me $10,000.
Sure.
It depends on when you want to pay your taxes.
And we don't have financial records to show when we get, right, but there's no financial record. So we couldn't do an analysis on past financial records to see percentages we get.
We can look at past budgets and figure it out. It would be an easy figure, but we don't have a budget right here.
So that's the only way to fall under the 13% that we're saying they're not paying, correct? We have, let's say we go to the last 5 years, just kind of like a number game, correct?
It pretty much is.
Yeah,
Some
it
years,
is.
I mean, more people pay their taxes some years, and some years nobody pays.
Well, I think this, I think this is great because, so when we get into our budget, okay, we need to anticipate that we may not collect what the county's gonna give us.
Right, even though y'all say, we're dropping 100% into our budget, maybe calculate, maybe we're only going to get 87%. Maybe that's what that line item needs to
Or
be.
90, or
Okay,
something.
now you see what my motive is. You see where we're going. We've got everybody here at the same time, okay? This is fresh off the press, basically, not even a month old, so to speak. Okay, so a really, really big plus for me that I see is that our sales tax revenue came in substantially higher than anticipated, by $186,000. I think that's incredible. So in case anybody who's never paid, hasn't checked things out, we now collect more money in sales tax than we do in property tax. That's an outstanding thing.
I think it's the first time.
We love it. If it's the first time, that's great, and I would assume that the QT had a lot to do with it, I presume. But also remember, as we collect more and more sales tax, that actually limits us on what we can charge on property tax. See, so, without voter approval. With voter approval, you can ask for a rate, all kinds of things that you want. Okay, so, but it's obviously a great thing. The more sales tax we collect, okay, the less we can hopefully keep property taxes.
So a key piece of data I hope to get to, which would help inform whether we increase, lower, or maintain our current property tax rate, is the rate of tax payment. If we're seeing a sudden decrease, like I suspect you saw a decrease in 2009, 2010 in payment, that tells us people cannot afford to pay it, and I guess we just can't fix some infrastructure. Roads can be crappy as long as we're not kicking people out of their houses. So before I make a decision on the tax rate, what is people's ability at a macro level to actually service that tax bill? Because they're already pretty stinking high as it is.
So Denise, just real quick, back to the property tax. Okay, so on our final amended, we still haven't finished September, October.
Haven't finished September.
Okay. All right, so then the numbers that goes to these guys in Uvalde, okay, is a 1.22 million, okay, but we're still anticipating a change. It could be up or down. Okay, right, and then when they get it, that's going to be the actual amount. So this time we came in under. Thank you, got it. Okay, so once again, sales tax is great. On moving to expenditures, we started with a original budget of $340,000 for administration. Our final budget ended up being $321,413. That's our final internal budget. And then the actual ended up being, in our favor, $21,826 less. Okay, so my first question for us would be, did the original amount include hopefully hiring a city administrator in this fiscal year? Okay, so then that's why we probably ended up 21,000 less. But where would the rest of the money come in that you would budget for a city administrator? Because it would be a six-figure number.
So the city administrator, Dor, and myself, we are split between administration out of general fund, water, and sewer.
Okay.
So a portion of our salary comes from those three line items.
Okay, let me I guess I need to address it differently. We originally budgeted $340,000, which would include the round number of $100,000 for city administrator. But we didn't hire a city administrator in this budget year. Okay, so somewhere is $79,000 more of an expense.
So under administration, that's everything. So that's our salaries, our pensions, our insurances, everything that it takes to operate the city on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
So if something was out of the norm higher than what we had anticipated, that's where your differences would be. Like the air conditioners going out in August.
Oh, that comes out of administration?
Yes.
Okay, great. I would not have guessed that.
Comes out of administration and the PD budget because we share that building.
Okay. See, that's what I'm asking. Yeah. Great answer. Thank you. Okay.
And we did take a big deal.
We sure did. Yeah. But that was, okay, well, the AC was
In August, this budget, this budget.
Okay, it was in this fiscal year. Got it. Okay. Thank you. That's what I'm asking. Okay, now if we go to street expenditures. Okay, all right, we originally started with $580,000 budgeted. The actual final ended up being $410,437. So we would have had a certain amount budgeted in here for street resurfacing, but we weren't able to do it.
Correct. So the 630,000 that we amended, that our final budget is, still included that 236, yes,
Okay.
thousand.
Okay.
So when y'all amended the final budget, that money was still there. So when the auditors did theirs, they removed it.
Got it.
Because we didn't spend it.
And then we took that money and put it back in this current fiscal year, in addition to some new money.
The addition was 2 years ago, when at the end of the amended budget, y'all amended the budget with rolling the funds that was left for contractors over to restrict it. It's restricted, so it can only be used when y'all decide to do street
Right.
again.
Got it.
236.
It was 136,
No, it was 200 and some.
but we had to pay Davis Street.
I thought they came out of regular budget.
Was that
That
Davis
was
or
that
Shaver?
budget.
That was the Shaver Street budget.
Yes, that was that
I
budget.
thought we took that money out of the normal budget. I didn't know we took it out of the bank budget. Or the bank.
So you banked after we made that, we
That's
did
fine.
that.
That's fine.
Okay, then another one that stands out to me, part of the reason why I'm asking this, number one, when the guy came, okay, we got the audit like, what, 3 days before he showed up? You know, we could have had, a lot more questions then, and what have you, while he was here, and then both could have collaborated. But anyway, it's all good, okay? So, health and sanitation, okay, what all is included in health and sanitation?
Health and sanitation is your garbage pickup.
I'm sorry?
The garbage, that's our waste, that's our Republic.
Okay, so that would be offset by the revenues that come in.
Don't pay a part of salaries for the folks who manage the wastewater treatment?
That's in our sewer and water funds.
Gotcha.
The sewer.
So this isn't the monies in excess of the money that comes in to pay for garbage on the utility bill?
That's done in your, if you'll look over like in charges for services, that's put over there. So you collect it over here, but it's paid on this line item over here.
Okay, it's one of those accounting things that you're like.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, you can understand why I'm asking that. Okay, so,
Just get a franchise fee for that.
what's that?
Just get a franchise fee for the garbage.
I got you. So it's gonna go somewhere else in the budget.
Right. I'll say we just get a franchise fee for the garbage, and the garbage company charges their customers. City gets a franchise fee from the garbage company for allowing the garbage company to come into the city and then
Got it.
charge the customer. So it's not like an enterprise fund in a regular
Okay.
business.
Compensation for allowing a monopoly.
I understand. I understand.
I thought we collect for Republic and then pay Republic.
We do.
Okay, I was misunderstanding then what David was saying.
The point I'm making is the garbage company is not an enterprise fund like our water company where we make money, we make a profit. The garbage company is not that.
No.
That's the point I was making. So it's not profitable to the city in excess like the
Right.
water company would be because we
Right.
sell one.
Correct.
So do we end up spending more on that than what we collect?
No,
Okay, well, good.
we go on Black Friday.
Okay, great, okay. Thank you for that. Parks and Rec. Okay, we started out with the original budget of, called it $58,000, but we only spent $24,000 at the end. Why do we not spend more at Parks and Rec?
Right now, we do not have an employee that is part of Parks and Rec, that his salary comes out of that. I don't think we spend the full amount for park maintenance that y'all had put in there?
Didn't we put 25 in?
And I think we
only
spent
like 10 or something.
13,
Oh, no,
14.
because we also, for the slide, but we had to do something over at Curcio. Wasn't that the mulching stuff that we had to replace? But I don't think we spent the whole 25.
Okay. But that's mainly because didn't have an employee on the maintenance and so forth?
Correct.
Okay. But we still did the maintenance.
We still do the maintenance, but there's not one that's assigned, so we don't have one that is actually coded to be charged off to the parks department.
Okay, got it.
Pete's
Thanks.
working on that.
Okay, and then, let's see, the golf course makes sense, okay, because I believe what was that pump in the last fiscal year?
That's in this year.
Okay, so then we had an expense, 17,000 somewhere, would that be the clubhouse and the electric and all that stuff, the AC?
That's the cooler,
Okay,
because we had lots of problems with the walk-in.
yeah.
I think there was an air conditioner.
Right, but everything in excess of budget, basically right now, everything with the golf course is the property that belongs to us. Right, okay, thank you.
Did we budget for that extra air conditioner that Charlie's daughter was requesting? Or is that still in debate?
No, we didn't budget for this.
We didn't? Okay.
No, because they were trying to fix everything up in the attic and everything. I was trying to get that hot air blowing out. And then they were gonna come back. Because that happened, what, in October? Somewhere around October, November, somewhere around when it was getting cooler. So after that stuff was done, we were gonna have to wait for the next couple of months when it gets hot, 100 degrees.
But we put it in the budget.
Yeah, I think we did.
We've already spent it. That's okay.
Okay, and then going to code enforcement, I think I already have the answer on that coming from the previous ones. It's just a difference of, well, from the original, it's down, well, we originally budgeted 148,000, and then we ended up, the actual was 109,000. Would that be employee short or anything like that?
It's part of the employee there also, yes.
Right, okay, perfect. Say, I'm catching on, Denise. Okay, and lastly, as far as the budget goes, the capital outlay, I believe that would be for the airport fund, and
The capital outlay was, yes, purchasing, the biggest part of the capital outlay was purchasing the hangars, yes.
right, okay. And then obviously, I would think that it wasn't included in the previous fiscal year because no one knew exactly when the transaction was going to be finalized.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's the questions I had. I'm sorry putting you on the spot. I was trying to tell you, I wasn't trying to be critical. We're just trying to get a better view of things. And I like it when we all sit here and talk, and it's great, especially on your final budget, to discuss it, in public and in front of, instead of a workshop. So, okay. Well, I got some great input. That's what I needed, and then I have some things that I'm going to kind of look at later when we get into our workshops and talk about some things. So in some areas we anticipated, some we didn't, So, and these things are very, very important because we need to try and understand and prepare for contingencies when we set our tax rate and the things we do. So, anyway, okay.
As we approach budget season, I would like to request you prepare some slides, specifically graphs on year-over-year spending on certain departments, and especially the tax rate, our tax collection rate over the years past. How much was projected versus how much was collected, and a percentage of it. Okay, we typically collect 87%, but this past 2 years, maybe we only collected 74 or 90 or whatever the case may be, just to help kind of inform some of our decisions a little bit more effectively. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Okay, that concludes our audit overview. Now moving on to agenda item number 8. Consider approval of council minutes from the regular council meeting minutes of March 19th, 2024. What was changed at the end? It just came in, the whole minutes were there, but what was changed from the previous, please?
couple of votes that had been left off, and, what was the other thing? Oh, just a couple of council people's names. One of us got left off. Sorry, one of us got left off.
Okay, and it's all corrected in here, and we just need to correct
Yes,
it first.
when I sent, she sent the new one today,
I made
Yeah.
the changes and I sent it
and I
to
looked at it and I'm like, okay, she fixed all the ones I saw. Did anybody see any other boo-boos?
I saw a few, nothing significant.
That we shouldn't change, is what you're saying?
It did not impact the overall narrative.
Oh. Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes for March 19th, 2024.
Okay, we have a motion from Debbie to accept the minutes.
Second.
We have a second from Josh. Further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 9, consider and act upon approving the airport proposal submitted by Dallas Collins for Hangar 10. Dallas, if you would like to come to the podium, sir, and do your best to talk into the mic. And also, please state your name, address, all that stuff.
My name is Dallas Collins. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there's a little one to the zero.
I think it's dead.
Can you look it up?
Test, 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 test.
All right, is that the button?
Hello? Okay.
Sorry about that, man.
My name is Dallas Collins. I live at 402 County Road 764, Devine, Texas. And I've been here about 12 years, I suppose. How would you like me to proceed? I assume y'all read the proposal. I don't know if we need to read it for the citizens, perhaps.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what, I can preface it, okay, right, and then we can start discussing. So, I believe in the first sentence here, it's got Hangar 8, but I'm pretty sure you're referring to Hangar 10.
Well,
The big one?
I meant to, there was some confusion, but yeah, the big one, I've heard 10, I heard 8.
Okay, yeah, it's Hangar 10, so you guys that are following along, we're just talking about Hangar 10 only, okay, Hangar 10 only. And you are proposing to lease that hangar for a period of 5 years, with a starting amount of $500 per month, which is the lease. Well, you also, including in the agreement, would be to make the following repairs and upgrades. The first year would be to install offices and a pilot lounge, saw cut concrete and add plumbing for 3 restrooms, 2 restrooms for male and female pilots and passengers, and 1 restroom for office personnel. Install covered parking for 3 vehicles. Install fence enclosing building line from building 8 to the hangar to the south of building 8. I assume that's also.
I didn't make any corrections on that,
Okay.
but it just closed between those 2 buildings, just keep people from just walking back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
To get there, they'd have to walk all the way around. That's
Okay.
without me spending a fortune on fencing the whole place.
Or repair any roof leaks. And also in the first year, clean up all areas, including the living quarters, dispose of trash, and request that dump fees be waived. In the second year of the proposal would be to replace the exterior sheeting of the building with new sheeting and trim. Okay, so I think, obviously $500 a month is a very small amount, and we need to be offset by the work and what have that you're going to put into the hangar.
Yes, sir.
So what do you project these items that I just read off to be worth monetarily, including labor and materials and so forth?
That, for both years, it could exceed $120,000.
Okay.
I mean, that's a pretty big hangar. It's a lot of sheeting. The second year, it's gonna be pretty big. But of course, the first year, building the offices and fixing the plumbing. And just for clarity on that, I got there and a total of 3 restrooms is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Two of the restrooms would be one for female and one for male for the pilot lounge. And then a third restroom would be for me and my office personnel.
Right. That's what I understood.
Yeah, okay. It's a little misleading, but
Question. When you say you're gonna replace sheeting, would that be new sheeting, just replace what's damaged, would everything be painted?
be new sheeting, 100% exterior.
Okay.
All the exterior walls are discolored and holes. And probably going to rework some of the doors. Maybe put some flip windows or something, but trim it out. You know, there's a lot on the building that's not trimmed out. There's like one corner there. There's US or OSB board, and it's deteriorating and it just looks ugly. And my purpose is to beautify the facility and to make us look like we know what we're doing, because we're going to try to sell services to the aviation community.
Okay, so just to clarify, that it includes 100% resheeting with new material on the exterior of the building, exterior walls.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
For that building only, whichever number it is.
The Hangar 10, that's what we discussed, Hangar 10.
Okay, I need to change that.
Oh, go ahead. If anybody else. Stacy,
I really want to hear from me.
Mike, please.
Sorry. So, I did a little the magic math for you, Joe. Renting this at $500 a month for 5 years, it will, instead of what we had temporarily put in the budget when we were talking about the leasing all the hangars, we had put $2,500 in there because we didn't know at the time.
You're talking about when council got to C of O, or are you talking about this budget year?
When we were talking about leasing all of the hangars and land, and we raised 3% for the people that were leasing just land. The rental, the lease fees, I'm not talking about budget, what we're spending, I'm talking about rental.
That was just current administration?
The revenue from renting the hangars.
Okay, you're talking about before this fiscal year?
For this fiscal year,
Okay.
we raised the rent 3% on the people that only rent the land and 10% for all the hangars. But we didn't really know what to put for 10, so we put $2,500 when we made the original setup. Because at $2,500, we can make the loan payment for the certificate of obligation. Because this year our loan payment is $82,000. It's $82,000 and some dollars, okay? Renting this at $500 makes us short by around $30,000 to make that loan payment. So technically, it'll be coming out of the airport budget versus paying for it itself. Okay? The rent should be paying for the loan payment. That's how it was originally set up to do. But it's not going to, because if we do rent it at $500 a month, it's going to make it short each month to make that loan payment. That's where I'm more upset about, because then it hits the airport budget versus paying for itself.
Well, I just, from what he said and what have you, so just say, you got just a value of $120,000 on the improvements, which isn't necessarily substantiated yet. It could be more, it could be less, right? And if you factor all that in and ask them for a 5-year lease,
$30,000 a year.
that actually comes to,
$24,000.
no,
Well, if you include the 500.
it comes to, okay, you'd have $30,000 on the rent, $120,000 on the upgrades. Okay, so that's $150,000. It's just over $1,000 a month if you figure it out that way. Okay, so it's still below your predictions on that. As far as paying for the loan. So once again, it's council, I think, would decide on if you're interested in improvements for the future, or if you're interested in the now. Okay, and there's not a darn thing wrong with either one of them. Okay, that should clarify things a little bit. So, and then the other plus that Mr. Collins gets it is you're going to save the $17,000 that was already encumbered for council. I mean, for the city to pay for repairs just to make the hangars presentable for another client down the road. Okay, so that still isn't, it still isn't the target that Debbie speaks of. So.
Yeah. Because it's $30,000 a year. If he puts in that $120,000, and then we got $500 a month from him for that year, for that whole year, like you said, it's $30,000. So if we were to go back to that person that wanted to pay $1,500 a month, and you break that down, he's paying $2,500 a month when he completes it in 5 years.
That's
which
true.
is a whole lot better deal.
120,
right?
123.
20 plus 30.
No, but for 5 years, you're still gonna be short $24,000
$20,000 a
every
month.
year.
Based on the estimate. So
Right, it works out to 25, but my bad on that. I was looking at something else.
my concern here, well, it's much concern. There's an estimate of how much it'll cost. We're doing WAG math here, which I don't necessarily hate, but we're trying to calculate numbers based off estimates. Steel prices could double next year, or right now, as the Strait of Hormuz might get shut down. We really don't know. As it stands, generally what I understand I'm okay with. However, I would like this to be a lot more explicit. Specifically, where are you going to install the 3 covered parking lots? And I'm looking at Google Map outline. Well, it says it, but it doesn't say where.
There's a diagram.
Yep, that shows me a fence.
Here's the covered.
Oh, okay, that was one that didn't
Covered
work.
parking is
Okay.
over here. Here's where the fence will go.
Okay. And then Vicky, do you folks understand what that is? Is that going to be a benefit to the airfield as a whole?
We've talked all along that one of the things the airport needed was a pilot line with restrooms. Presently, somebody comes in, they're forced to use the outhouses, and that's just not going to bring anybody back. I think what Dallas is proposing is instead of the city spending that money to build a pilot's lounge and do the restrooms and all that kind of stuff, he will do that for the city.
Right.
And in return, he's going to amortize that off by only paying $500 a month.
And just a brief comment on part of your question. The covered parking will benefit whoever's leasing that building, whether it's me or a future tenant. I mean,
It's under reserved for Zoe specifically.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Would there be opposition to if, by the grace of God, we're able to get the old police department vehicle as a service car for the airport? Would that be able to be parked there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a problem. And if I needed to add maybe another one, I could do that pretty easy, but I mean, as it is right now, 2 is really all I need. Might as well do 3 instead of 2.
All right.
So what happens after 5 years?
Well, I wanted to mention that as well. I'd like the first option to renew, and we would negotiate a price at that time. So I don't want to just 5 years go see you later, because I mean, I don't want to spend $120,000 on there and just throw it away in 5 years. I want this to grow a business and get my money back, and that would be beneficial for all of us.
Let me clarify something, just real quick. When I did my math a little while ago, it actually should have worked out to $2,500 a month when you include 120,000 and 30,000. Okay, so, but anyway, just wanted to clarify that real quick. I hit something wrong over here.
That's what I figured
David, go
out,
ahead.
2,500.
I just wanted to articulate what your business is going to be at the airport. You said it's going to be, in fact, aviation-related type of business.
Well, yes. I mean, I'm in construction. I have my own plane. But yeah, I'm wanting to bring service like engine maintenance, annuals, and I'll be looking for other opportunities. I've considered buying a nice flight simulator. I've considered getting my instructor's license and maybe do private instruction. That's stuff that I'm looking at. I was visiting with Vicki today. Aviation is like, just like all the other businesses we're seeing, it's hard getting certain components, or like, for instance, let me rephrase that. Like, there's components in airplanes that are overhauled, and there's maintenance shops that do that. They're all over the country. It might be an air conditioner, it might be an alternator, those type of things. And it's getting harder and harder to, one, get it done in a timely fashion, and secondly, it's getting harder and harder to get it done properly. Again, I was telling Vicki, and she deals with this all the time. I had a hydraulic pump on my airplane. I had to send it back 3 times. And each time it's 10 days, so my airplane's stuck on the ground for 30 days, waiting on a hydraulic pump. So I'm looking for maybe opportunities that way as well. Whatever makes sense. So now, and having said that, I would obviously do my bookkeeping and stuff for my construction company there, but I don't have any materials to store. All my stuff is delivered on job sites. I wouldn't have any equipment here other than what I said in here, with just equipment or material needed to upgrade the facility. So I'm not running an air conditioner business out of there like somebody might have done before.
Would you be amenable to an addition to, obviously there's other things that need to go in there as far as the leasing agreement, but would you be amenable to adding the contract if an estimated dollar amount for each line item, then if it's not completed, will be made up with that many months of rent to equate to that? So
I don't have a problem with that. We could have a more specific scope of work if you prefer, and I complete those items. We can put a number to it, however you want to do it. I need to fulfill my part of the bargain. I get that.
Yeah, just to make sure we have some sort of the recourse to that stuff that doesn't happen.
So since it's aviation, if he brings in a business, I deal with aviation, do we benefit sales tax off the?
It depends on what their business is. If they're selling products, and you will.
Sales tax collected, it's got to be turned in.
That's actually, would that, because that's not actually inside the city limits, is it? Okay, so it would apply.
Since y'all own it, I would think. Vicki, do you know how that
never
works?
knowing. The city can own.
And the maintenance labor too, right?
No.
Just parts.
Right.
Okay.
Anyway, there are instances where the city owns property in unincorporated areas, so it may or may not. But that is, because I think the other businesses collect sales tax.
The more service we have out there, the more fuel you're going to sell. It's not a barn burner, but big things start small. So we got to get something rolling. Obviously, this benefits me as well on a personal level, but I would like to see that airport turn into a nicer facility.
And you kind of live a hop, skip, and jump away anyway, I believe.
Yeah, hopefully it don't land in my backyard. That'd be good.
Yeah, so, And then I believe there's also something in here about repairing the well.
If it can be repaired, I don't think it can, but that I think needs to be debated. It would be kind of pointless to put in toilets and in 6 months they're all brown. So just so you know, I drilled a well at my house a year ago, and it's all in was like 15,000.
Who did that? How deep's that water?
I drilled 240.
240?
Now these, is it URC? What is it called out here?
UWR? Unison?
Yeah. They told me 24.
Sure did.
But, yeah. But that was all in. You've already got the pump and the pressure tank. So, but I think if you go out for bid, you can get it cheaper than that. That's my opinion.
Okay. What's the current status of the septic system out there?
It's supposed to be operational. I met with the previous owner of the building. He said it worked fine. So, you know, I mentioned that in here as well, if you're referring to that. That belongs to you guys. If something goes wrong with it that wasn't caused by me, you know, that y'all should be responsible, not me, for that. I mean, I don't know how old it is, if the ladder lines are up, that all of a sudden they're all plugged up. And if it's not because of me, you know, if it's my fault, I need to take care of it. I'm okay with that.
I appreciate it.
Did you want to say something? Okay. All right. Okay, so we can probably expect if we were to drill that well, I think we have a pump already that was just brand new.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so perhaps it can be that amount that you specified.
That's a deal breaker for me, I'm sorry, but why spend all that money and then have crappy bathrooms in there?
Well, I would think once again...
There's gotta be a solution. It may be a good filter system, but...
Well, I would think like if we're actually planning to, you know, to make that airport into something that we actually get the revenue to actually pay for the certificate of obligation, it would seem like something that might be necessary. Just another thing, so perhaps the 17,000 that we'd encumbered for repair, and I'm just throwing this out there, it's not an endorsement. You know, instead could go to having a good water out there, okay, in the well, because it seems to me, whoever may come in there at 10 years from now, 6 years from now, 2 years from now, you're gonna have some decent water anyway, so.
Exactly.
Could we also put a stipulation in the contract that we will have the well and water filtration, and is you asking and water filtration or just depending on quality of water?
Whatever fixes the problem.
Could we articulate that a little better in the contract, just maybe it's parts per million of contaminant or just clear water? And then by a date, so likely this isn't gonna happen until next budget year, so is there a way you can hold off on plumbing if we were to approve this tonight until after the budget year? Just, I don't wanna put us in a bad spot or you in a bad spot to damaging stuff.
You know, I'm open to negotiating on what the steps are gonna be.
Okay.
Because obviously, again, I don't want to put stuff in there that's going to destroy it, but I don't want to tarry too long, so I don't know, there may be some horse trading that we can do. Maybe I could, if y'all wanted, if you're agreed on doing it, and we could agree on that, I might foot the bill to get it going, and then y'all can reimburse me, something like that. I don't know if that's even legal or possible.
We have grant money that, I don't know if we can go towards that, but we figure something else out.
Check.
It's just, whether you rent it to me or not, y'all need to get some water out there, so that's...
Well, that well might be able to come under the 90-10 grant, will it not?
We'll see. I'll have to check.
It's possible, something to check into.
Well, if we can get those amendments added to the contract to deadline for us to have stuff, the plumbing fixed and fully operational water by November, December. And then you're not responsible for plumbing until that is complete. Or you're not responsible for plumbing, yeah, I guess until it's complete. If we don't do it, then you're not responsible for plumbing.
Yeah, it is, like I said, as long as I know you're gonna do it, I may go ahead and get it all ready, because I want to move in as quick as I can. So,
And then also addendum or something in there that if certain items aren't completed, just paying the full $2,500 a month in rent to compensate for whatever work isn't complete. I mean, I don't think he's not going to do it. I know.
no, I need to do what I say.
That needs to be stuff happens. I lost a flying or hit by a ground.
I'm not trying to pull a fast one here. Y'all need to make a decision, but I think that's fair. I do.
If we were to, first of all, I've never had a well dug, so I don't know what is the timeline to get one done. And then if we are doing it, we have to send it out to bid. And then that's another 30, 60 days. I mean, what is the right timeline for that? I don't know how long it takes to get one, on top of our bidding situation and, you know. So maybe September would be the soonest we could say we would have one. I don't know, because I've never had a legal bill before.
Pardon me, that wouldn't be a problem, really. I think, and we need to talk about it some more, but, I mean, it's gonna take me a while to lay out the floor plan, and I can go ahead and put my airplane in the barn, start cleaning up. So, you know, if they don't intersect exactly right, it wouldn't be a deal breaker. I just don't want to wait. Well, it'll be done in 2 years. I don't want to do that.
Don't want to table this all the time, just like we've been in the past, trying to get things done in those hangars. You know, we're making bids, and by the time we want to do something, that company bails out, they can't do it. I mean, we've been going on too long. It's better to take this deal now, because if he does decide not doing it in 2 months and he's waiting for us, then we got to find somebody that wants to pay at least what he's offering at $2,500 a month. You know? I mean, it's either we put our own money there, or he puts his money in it, and we take what he can give us, and then we'll benefit in the long run after 5 years. I mean, brings businesses in, we're going to benefit off of sales tax and everything, from what I understand. So, why not?
It's not in the city limits.
But they'll just,
It'll still-
city owned.
We still get the,
Oh, because it's city owned, we could get it?
Many years ago, we annexed out 2200
Oh, okay.
to the airport.
Just up to the airport.
Just to the airport, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. I thought it got cut off.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, if it wasn't annexed, they would be charging sales tax, but the city wouldn't be getting it.
Correct.
Yeah. I'd like to,
That's fine, you're right,
I'd
Michael,
like to
sorry.
point out something, you know, I've done some research and what have you, specifically on this issue. Debbie brought up earlier about the original loan and how it's going to be paid for and so forth. So, just so council can know, the original C of O, council approved in June of 2021. Okay, that was the million some odd dollars that was in the previous fiscal year that we talked about earlier this evening. Okay, it finally got expended about a year and a half later. Okay, or almost 2 years later. All right, in 2023, and at the time, the council approved the C of O, the certificate of obligation, to be paid with ad valorem taxes and a pledge of certain revenues from the ownership and operation of the airport. Okay, so you have an annual payment of $81,162, which includes $16,162 of interest annually. Okay, now the revenue that was listed, so when council issued this certificate of obligation, almost immediately they bought hangars number 5 and number 7. Okay, number 5 was listed as a potential revenue of $12,600. Number 7 was listed as potential revenue of $6,000. Okay, the hangars commonly referred to as 8 and 8A were proposed at $6,000. Okay, once again, nobody's in it. And then Hangar 10, they actually anticipated $17,400 that was in at that meeting. Okay? And so council at the time decided to include an existing revenue amount of $17,000 that it was already receiving for hangars that it already owned. I hope you guys are following me. And even with all this, even including the $17,000 of the pre-existing revenue that had been supplementing the airport, they projected a deficit of $20,000 a year. So I just want council to understand that and so forth. So of course we want to pay the loan. Of course we want to have the airport sustain itself. Of course we want to do all these things. But man, is it a tough road to hoe. So notice it was mentioned ad valorem taxes. Okay, yeah, we don't want to use other tax money for this. We want the airport to pay for itself. Whether it be supplemented by ramp grants, by the rent on the hangars, and on down the line. But the original proposition when they put this on the city, they were expecting a deficit of $20,000 a year.
That was also in 2021 when we've raised the rent there now 3 times since then.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know, we probably were at 20,000 deficit. I'm just saying, right now, we wouldn't be if we actually rented them out. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So-
they're not rented, therefore we're in deficit.
Yeah, so but remember also, okay, so the city of Devine buys these hangars. Okay, in 2021, they're already anticipating buying the hangars from David A. Lane. Okay, that's why they listed potential revenue. All right, so they were already getting $17,000 to help supplement the previous operation at the airport and the money the city was paying. So the hangars that were purchased actually would have had a deficit of $37,000 if the existing revenue wasn't applied to that. Anyway.
I'm not following.
Okay,
But it doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Because it really truly doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Because it was
So-
2 years ago.
well, it does matter because that's what we're paying for now. Okay, and that's why we got to try and make the best of what we can with what we got. So council has a decision to perhaps invest in the future of a gentleman that's local. Okay, you know, to help him improve the facility to where later on down the line you might be able to get more money for it. Okay, or you can not do it and try and get more money for the hangar rental as we speak.
Can I make a motion?
Of course you can.
I'd like to make a motion, we authorize the city administrator and attorney to complete a contract with amendments and lease agreement that complies with regulations, adding per month rent to compensate for incomplete work and a release of plumbing requirements if the city fails to provide clean water.
Okay. That's a tough one.
I think I got everything we talked about.
Well,
We're gonna dig a well.
Or he doesn't have to put in plumbing.
well, he's, okay.
Okay, we need to do the well.
Okay, hold on a second.
That's my point
All
here.
right, we don't have a second yet, okay, but.
I'll second.
Okay, all right, we have a second from Michael. I will allow further discussion. Please remember that Mr. Collins said that no well was a deal breaker. So it's one of the two. So not an easy decision regardless. Okay?
I mean,
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. You may discuss
Okay, say it again.
what was being said.
Let me find it.
Perhaps you just worded
Authorize
it
the city administrator and staff to complete the contract with amendments and a lease agreement that complies with regulations, adding rent per month to compensate for incomplete work, and a release of plumbing requirements if the city fails to provide clean water.
Can we perhaps paraphrase that to,
I can text it to you.
Yes, let's
yeah,
take the motion.
basically an agreement in principle until final contract details are prepared.
What's, based on our discussion here, it's authorizing David, Tom, Dora, and them to just make it done.
Well, I'd like to bring it back to the council once our attorney has written a formal contract to ensure we have all the elements in it and it's acceptable for both parties.
Good enough.
Also, the well, I might add, we just had a pump, so first of all, it needs an inspection. It could be, maybe just need a sleeve put on it or whatever. So it might be a full price for a full pump or a well, or it may not. May need some rehab and then a filtration system besides that. So might not be a full cost. So take an assessment of the well site before we can determine exact cost for that location.
One question, is there any, Yancey water supply, they don't supply water out that way?
Oh, it would be.
It'll be, cost a lot of money, okay, yeah. I'm out.
Okay, we do have a motion in a second. Did everybody,
Debbie, what is your concern about this particular motion?
I'm sorry?
What is your concern about Josh's particular motion? What's the wording or the?
Well, it was, from what the discussion here was, we have to do a well. If we're going to go with that, we have to do a well. And the way you worded it was like, well, we might not do a well. Therefore, he won't have to put in bathrooms. No, I think it needed to be a little more defining. But y'all seconded it, that's what my problem was.
Pointless to put the bathrooms without the water, so. But that's, again, whether you use me or not, you really need some decent water out there for washing planes or somebody else putting bathrooms, it's.
I know I made a big fuss last budget year. I didn't want to spend any more money in this airport until we found out if we could sell it. Well, we found out we couldn't sell it, so now I'm on board. We'll go ahead and drill a well. We'll do the things we need to do to upgrade it.
Tom, I don't know, okay, that was a motion in a second, right, and our bylaws allow for further discussion. I'm having trouble with the motion and all the words and everything. Can it not be paraphrased to agreement in principle pending final terms of the contract?
There's Josh's motion there.
I know.
So, it's my understanding that he was going to text that motion.
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
It's the door already.
Okay. All right, guys.
I think
Yes, sir.
had his hand up over there.
Sure, I'll recognize.
Actually, I've got a couple comments on the well. I live right next door to it. I have water at 140 feet. Just for information. I don't know how deep the city well is. And then secondly, I remember us talking about Yancey, and one of the reasons we talked about Yancey was there was a concern about not having a fire hydrant at the airport. And there was that the airport needed fire protection. Remember that? And that well will never provide fire protection. So if in fact we need fire protection out at that airport, and somewhere it was said that that was a requirement, then we need to address the Yancey water again.
Come down to the storage tank. Sounds like later other problems.
Yeah, okay, we do have a motion in a second. Okay, any further discussion at all?
I just a pretty quick comment. If we decide to vote for this, yes. I just want that contract to be as specific as possible.
Right, that's why I was hoping.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, I agree.
That's why we'll bring it back to the council.
Perfect.
That's why I'll bring it back, so before it's approved.
Okay. It will be brought back to council before it's completely approved. But right now, we need to proceed with giving him the authorization to
I
bring
don't see
it
a problem
back.
with, this deal and everything. The only thing I have a problem is how we want to come up with the money we need to actually pay the loan or whatever. And I guess that's another problem. I guess we need to just figure out where we're going to get the rest of the money to pay that loan for every month. We're not going to be making something that they can do with the skills. I mean, it's good, I like it, whatever, but we still got to figure out how to.
Well, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
You can either think about further into the future, things can be done, or you can try and
We
do
just gonna
another.
have to hopefully somehow, how we gonna come up with the rest of the money.
So 14,000 times more fuel, that'll make it.
Yeah,
Okay, any further discussion?
that's all I have, but yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, in favor? All opposed? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? All in favor, good day. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Thank you,
Dallas.
Thank you, Dallas.
Thank you.
Dallas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 10. Consider and act upon adopting an ordinance. Did you still want to approach this?
I was really clear in my verbiage that I did not want anything to be written, act upon. However, after some further discussion with folks, they're okay with this just going to the rezoning recommendation, whatever that board is we just made.
Zoning reform.
Zoning reform.
Committee.
That. So, make a motion, we take no action on this item and let them push it through P and Z.
Okay. We have a motion to take no action on this item. We have a second from Michael. Discussion at all? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 11, also brought by Councilman Ritchie. Consider and act upon adopting an ordinance requiring non-transparent junkyard, in parentheses, fencing for homes uninhabited for more than 12 months.
So this might be best left to them. However, there have been a lot of folks, including in this council room, talking about some of the abandoned houses around here that are very unsafe, whether they're just unoccupied because they've been for sale for forever and a day, or they're just abandoned. We need to get something up to want to keep the drug addicts out and keep kids from getting in there and anybody getting hurt. And I especially don't want to have another incident where, like the mill across the street there, that elderly man fell down a hole and, could have died in the freezing weather there if that police officer hadn't found him. So those are the sorts of things that I don't know how we effectively get out of that. I don't know that policy is the right answer. Also, we don't have the manpower to go around inspecting homes, nor we would make half this town uninhabited and make folks homeless if we went around looking at every condemnable building. So that is not the right answer, but throughout the brain trust in the community here, how do we get after this with just focus on the buildings that aren't inhabited?
We use our ordinances that we have on the books, and we prioritize condemnable buildings, which needs to be taken care of first, and then try to go that route. And we do a community push to ask people to clean up their properties and help improve the appearance of Devine for safety, health, and welfare. So, go ahead.
My biggest worry here is we start getting after people who, some of those folks who have little sheds built onto the back of their house because their house is not inhabitable, but they cannot afford a new home. So I'm really hesitant to direct that policy towards this. How do we do it in a compassionate manner where we're not making people homeless?
That's what you said, we do it in a compassionate manner, and we try to help, as much as possible. We're not gonna put people out of their homes unless it's a health, safety, or welfare issue, but we'll focus first of all and foremost on the empty buildings that are around here, which are plenty, which we can.
Commercial buildings right now, there's quite a few, taking the residential off the chart, we don't even do anything about our commercial buildings, so where do you think and how are we gonna go after residents? Personally, on my block, I have a house no one's lived in over 20 years. Somehow the yard gets mowed. I don't know. The taxes get paid, so somebody owns it, they just don't live in it. I'm thinking maybe parents passed and the children that don't live here, just pay somebody to go, whatever. The fact is, it's been empty for 20 years. Nobody's got in it or hurt anything. But if we don't do something about our commercial buildings, I don't see how we think we can do anything about the residents. I understand the problem, I totally do, but I don't know, we don't have the manpower. I don't know how, I guess.
Well, that's why,
Also, how do we do that?
I intended this item to be for discussion with council. So he wanted to hear other opinions
Yeah.
and what have you on what we might be able to do. It's a tough one, obviously, and of course we have existing ordinances that might apply to it also.
I think we need to follow these ordinances. We need to follow every single one of them. I mean, I got somebody's calling me all the time because there's a house that's being built, the grass is a foot long, and he's telling me how come the city ain't doing about it. You know, and I'm looking at his yard and he's got 3 junk cars parked there, so,
Yeah.
you know, you see what I'm saying? So, we have to do something. It's gonna have to go both ways, you know? The same thing on, I think it's Cook or Tilly. If we're gonna tell somebody they need to cut their yard, we need to take care of our business too at the park. We bought those 3 houses and that grass is high. So how can we tell somebody, it's like Debbie says, how can we tell somebody to do something and we're not doing our own?
Right now, we're discussing uninhabited homes.
Well,
Yeah,
those
I understand.
Those are uninhabited.
Great
There's
points.
3 homes there.
Okay, good. So, okay. Perhaps we could refer this to the zoning reform committee also, to see what they might come up with.
I'll make a motion, we refer this to the zoning reform committee.
Okay, we have a motion to refer this item to the zoning reform committee.
I'll second.
We have a second from Michael. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 13, consider and act upon amending the personnel policy brought by city administrator.
Let's skip 12, yeah.
I did it again? See, I did it again. Going back to agenda item number 12. Consider and act upon appointment of election judges and clerks for the May 4th, 2024 general election.
Dora, number 12.
So everyone got asked, the ones that you see on that list, those are the ones that helped last year, and they're willing to help again. Linda Allen as the presiding judge, alternate judge Kenneth Allen, and then the clerk Barbara Moore, Deborah Dubois, and Anna Hundley.
What is our process for soliciting more folks to get involved with this? What is our process for soliciting more people to get involved with this?
Like you get involved in how?
Well, how is someone becoming a presiding judge or an alternate judge?
We've had other judges before, but they've retired, and so then we just reached out. Glenda and Kenneth are retired teachers, and so they've been doing the last 3 years. But I mean, we can advertise it to more people if y'all want.
Didn't we have to advertise last year for just the volunteers?
We
We
reached
had
out,
judges,
yes.
but we had to advertise for
Yeah.
the other volunteers, so.
I don't know, it's on a simple Facebook, but I just would ask in the future if we could
Yeah.
just let the community know if
Put
you're
it on
interested in this. It's just something simple, just ensure we're not getting the same folks who feel required to do it every year because nobody else wants to do it, that no one else knew about it. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we, I guess, I don't know, how do we put this? This is, what are we calling it?
The listed?
You're appointing the election judges.
Appointment of judges, thank you. That we go ahead and appoint Glenda Allen as presiding judge, Kenneth Allen as alternate judge, Barbara Moore, Deborah Dubois, and Anna Hundley as clerks for this May 2024 election.
All right, we have a motion from Debbie to appoint the listed personnel.
I'll second.
Have a second from Michael. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Now we're on 13, almost crossed that one out again. Okay, agenda item number 13, consider and act upon amending the personnel policy. David, you're up.
Yes, following me being hired almost 6 months ago, I reviewed the personnel policy, and the personnel policy manual was dated 1990 something. So, long story short, this is a new updated review. It's done by Clear Career Professionals, which is a professional organization that does human resources and trainings for municipal governments. I have submitted this personnel policy for your review. We also submitted the corrections a little bit later on today, but the corrections that we made to the policy are there. This is an updated policy according to the current laws, and is a very comprehensive manual for our staff to be able to review, be knowledgeable of their rights and responsibilities, benefits with the city. So it's just part of the overall assessment, once again, evaluation of the departments for the city staff.
I've not been able to look at the edited version yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. I didn't even know if that was the new one or was the old one.
Actually,
I
it's
mean,
more.
we needed a little more information on this one. Was this the new policy? I mean, I read it already. I'm just saying, I didn't know, is this the new one or is it the old one?
Right.
It would have been nice to have that little detail when we got the packet. But I did find a couple of things that I'm thinking, I think need to be changed, in my opinion, of course.
Okay, this is, I just want to say this is brought to y'all for review. I don't expect any, give you time to review it, obviously, read it and process it, and we can bring it back for the next meeting.
Do you want me just to send you what I think?
I would like for all the counselors, if you don't mind, to send out your observations
I
to.
didn't know how you wanted to do it.
Right. So, obviously it's a pretty thick manual, and it's,
Yeah,
like
a
I
lot
said,
to read.
a lot to read, and it's updated. Right. It's updated according to the state and federal laws and so forth. So, just bringing it to you for policy update, just like we're updating some of our other policies.
I will send you this stuff, the revisions that I have in mind, but I would like to discuss them just to make sure nobody else thinks they're too out of line. So for 12.4 A and B, local counseling notes be stored. Also, then instead of should, may, or other recommendations for documentation, a clear policy mandating documentation. And that goes specifically for these verbal. And the reason I'm looking at this is, okay, verbal counseling, let's just put these notes somewhere and just like any personnel file, just keep these on file. Nothing happens in 6 months, they can go by the wayside. But if there are,
What page?
Personnel policy 12.4 A and B.
31.
I don't know the page.
31 on the changes.
Oh, is it on the change, the updated one?
No.
No.
It's on the
Yeah,
one.
that's the one I'm on, so I can't find that.
But the objective here is toss it out to folks if it's just happened one time. But if we're seeing a pattern here, just a brief note, talk to this individual. Because my concern here, are we teaching our folks to improve their supervisory skills? Are we making sure that, and that's probably sounds like beating the drum for you. All right, are we mentoring them, making sure that they're becoming better managers? So are you doing your part to verbally reprimand these folks, or are you trying to avoid the adverse interaction? And also, again, just little notes, okay, I see you're late, you keep being late, or you keep skipping out work every Friday. After 2 years, okay, you've done this every 5 months, you've done this every 7 months. I'm starting to see a pattern here, I'm concerned with that. That way we all of us have the documentation, and this goes into something I'm looking for later on as well. Just keep that documentation for, if they can show the pattern in 2 years. If it stops, great, we can get rid of it. For 12.6, allow 2 business days versus 2 days generally. That way, if it's a Thursday, we're not counting Saturday and Sunday against them to provide a rebuttal.
12.7, paragraph 2, employee may request full counsel for appeal if mayor alone is not preferred.
None of that.
Okay,
It
so,
should go to the council, not the mayor.
well, disagreement. For a personnel matter, maybe somebody doesn't, they might not want to do an appeal if all of council has to hear it. And so give them the optionality.
It should
Do I
go-
just want to
if
talk to
David
mayor?
can't- If David's the one who reprimanded, and they want to appeal, it has always been and should be the council. We can go on closed session, so it's not a public
Of course.
thing, okay? But the council should be not just one person.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that one. I'm glad about that. So I think they should have the option to just mayor or mayor and council. They don't think they're giving it a fair shake. But it's okay. We can debate on that one.
We disagree on that.
12.7, paragraph 2, debated. 21.1,
Can you,
sir.
I'm sorry, it sounds like you have quite a bit. Can you just email all
Yeah.
those to us and we will,
Might be a good idea.
we will take and compile everybody's,
Okay.
Put them all together.
We'll do.
right, put them all together and then when we bring it back with the revisions,
That's perfect.
Okay. Last thing, I just want to add Bitcoin to our IRA options. I'll email that to you.
Okay, any other,
I got it already. We'll discuss that offline, please.
all right, any other discussion on 13?
So do we need a motion to bring it back after, do we need to motion anything?
You can table it or no action,
No action.
whichever one you want.
That's fine.
Okay?
Safety procedures.
All right, we don't have a motion on this item? Yeah, all right. No action will be taken this evening, possibly brought back at another time. Okay. Agenda item number 14, consider and act upon amending the airport advisory ordinance. City Administrator.
Yes, we have an airport advisory ordinance that was established in the process of reviewing that ordinance. We have the airport manager as a member of the advisory board committee. My experience is normally city staff, somebody that's contracted with the city in an advisory role and not as a member role as far as voting is concerned. So that's why I brought this to the mayor and council for consideration to discuss. Normally it's I'm sorry.
We added her to the board because she's out there all the time. I remember when we set that up.
I think right now we have a 6-member board. If it's, or there's 6 people on the board. But isn't it set up as 7? Tom? The airport board is supposed to have 7?
7, yes.
Okay, so it's set up for 7. So anyway, my personal opinion, it's a conflict of interest if an employee, is on the board that can possibly govern an issue that she may have as an employee. So.
Normally, as a city staff person or contract person serves as a liaison to the committee, not as a part of the board committee, part of the board, who's a voting member who influences policy and so forth. That person advises the committee through the city, as a city representative of the policies of the city and so forth and so on. So that's what, after reviewing the ordinance, that's what my observation is. Bring to the council for y'all to make a decision.
Makes sense to me.
Of course, that would have been nice if in the packet, that that's what this was going to be about. 'Cause I read the ordinance and I went, I don't know what we're discussing. So I was not prepared for anything tonight.
Okay, so from now on, I'll start putting subheadings on I'll start putting subheadings to
That'd
explain.
be nice,
Okay.
because we have no idea what we're going to talk about.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I think that the procedure that's been followed in the past is that someone would nominate her for a position on the board and the council would vote on that. That's the way it was. I mean, she's not, nowhere in here does it say that she is going to be a member. It says 2.266 that she's to provide the necessary information. But in the past, someone has just recommended this should be placed on the advisory committee. And this was the same with both of the two airport managers before her. They were on the advisory committee also. So it's just if she was nominated and then the council voted on it. That's what happened. That's the way it occurred. That's the way it's occurred for the past, including Vicky, the past 3 airport managers.
So they remain voting members as employees?
Yes, that's correct. And again, this is just an advisory committee.
That's true.
They make recommendations to the council, and then the council decides.
Well, of course, that's what all our committees are.
Yes. But I just wanted to give you a little historical background on why the airport manager has been on this committee.
Well, yeah, I figured it had to be approved by council. So also related to this is my personal opinion is that committee should be 5 people. This is a type of committee that's kind of hard to get together, all right? I would assume that the qualifications are not had by everyone. You obviously want someone that's familiar with the aeronautical issues and things, the operation of the airport and so forth. So I myself would like to see it move to a 5-person committee rather than having an opening that they have right now.
Something else I'd like to add to this. I don't have an opposition to any of the recommendations here, but allow them to conduct their meetings remotely if the technology exists. That way we can stream it, record it, and allow it to be viewed by the public, just like our council meetings. And I mean, a lot of those folks are working in multiple places because they fly airplanes, so if they're out of town, they can still participate in a meaningful way in a meeting.
That would change the ordinance. Done. Because right now they're saying set up in person. I'm saying that would change the ordinance. We'd have to change the ordinance. What month, I was trying to look this up last night and got sidetracked. Was it June that we go through all the, it's in June, okay.
They run
We go
concurrent.
through all the advisory boards and
Those appointments run concurrent with the mayor's race. So
The
anytime
mayor's
you
term.
have.
The mayor's term.
The
yeah,
mayor's
but some of
term.
them have 2, well, okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we won't be doing it this year. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So say if we could do it at that time, but,
That advisory board, whenever they approve something, it's gotta come through us, correct?
Yeah, it's a
So
recommendation.
I mean,
all she is doing is helping the board with information, and yes, she gets to vote, but their vote doesn't, it has to come here to actually become something.
be influential, I mean, she can encourage somebody, that's the thing.
I don't know that it's gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, because it's gotta come through us, so you could have 10 people on that board and, you know?
I mean, if we're being fair, anyone on that board can be influential. They can just recommend a policy if they don't like someone, or they're out there all the time. They could, make complaints to the city government, state government, FAA, or whatever. I mean, that's just because of all the regulations out there, anybody could have some undue influence. So, I hear your point though.
That's the only thing. I mean, that's the only thing that I see, you know?
Here's my thought process was simply, even as an advisory board committee, policy member, voting member, comes to the council, council is the governing body, council's gonna say yes or no. The council says yes, implement the policy, it's still going back to the airport manager who has to implement that policy. So he or she still has influence on the potential outcome of that policy. So my experience as a city staff member, most of the people are liaisons to assist that advisory board in getting.
Yes, though, she's one vote of 7. So if she wants something and they don't, not like me. If I want something y'all don't, then, I don't get my way. It happens, it's an advisory board, they're not writing
Yeah, but
checks
if-
and making purchase orders.
I think what he's saying, once we pass something, she can regulate it however she wants to, because she's
She
the,
would be.
see, now I see,
Question, how many boards do we have that have a city employee on them?
One.
The one we're talking about. Thank you.
okay.
Wouldn't necessarily need her to not be in the board, she should just be a non-voting member, because her advice is still important to the board as a liaison, yeah?
Right, as a liaison, yes.
Okay, so
I'm not saying she shouldn't be, she can't be at the meetings or anything like that, or the next manager comes, can't be at the meetings. They're a liaison to answer questions to the committee, or to come back to the city and say, hey, the committee's requesting this information, so they can have additional information to make a decision or make a recommendation, etc. At the end of the day, the committee would be the one that voted to forward the recommendation to the council.
I'm okay with that.
I believe the job description for the airport manager includes, as a liaison to the board, the airport advisory board. So it's just an attempt to tidy things up and be consistent all the way across the board. Very similar to updating the personnel manual and all the other things that we've been trying to catch up on.
I'll make a motion, we amend the policy to make the airport manager a non-voting member of the board and allow remote meetings as technology permits.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion from Josh to not allow the airport manager to be a voting member of the board and to also allow remote meetings. We have a second from Michael. All in favor? Okay, we have 4 ayes. Debbie opposed. Motion passes. Debbie in opposition. You want a break? You want a break? I think we got two pretty quick ones, Mike. Okay, before we go executive session?
Oh, it's him, not me. I got a bottle right here.
We got two pretty quick ones. Can you hang on? Okay, all right. Okay, folks, agenda item number 15, consider and act upon applying for a community unlimited grant for the GIS mapping city infrastructure. City administrator.
Sir, Mayor and Council, as most folks are aware, we've had no less than probably 20 water line breaks between Chromex Construction and Rise Broadband, and a lot of that is because the city has no current mapping system of the infrastructure that was put in place over 50 years ago. So this is I went out for some grants. I found this grant from Communities Unlimited. It's a grant for GIS grant. It's a total grant of $17,000, and it's a 94% to 1 match. They pay $16,000, and we contribute $1,000 to the total grant program. They will come down, their team will come down, spend 3 days on the ground with our staff, and they will use their equipment, and they will map out the infrastructure of the city, as far as the pipes and so forth in the city, and put GIS mapping and use their technology to help us make a schematic of the underground infrastructure. We also, part of this, we also would subscribe to a software program, which is like $500 a year, to be able to monitor our system and upgrade our system, update our system as we go, as we add infrastructure or replace and discover additional piping. So I want to present this to the council and let you know this program.
Water and sewer?
This is just for water and sewer, yes ma'am. So this would be something that's very beneficial for the city. So we'll have a roadmap, so to speak, a pipe map for our public works personnel and people in the future, 50 years from now, when we're pushing up daisies. So that's why I'll present this to the council.
Is this going to represent any additional contracts for additional features in GIS or new versions?
No, we can, even the software program, we can unsubscribe to the software program at any point once we think we're at a good level, if we desire to. So we're not committed into anything other than the $1,000 commitment contribution, which is, like I said, our percentage of the grant. This is a rural grant for small cities, and we qualify. So I want, that's why I wanted to bring it to the city council for approval or for consideration.
Do we have any of our, do we have any city staff that are knowledgeable on GIS or how to use that, how to extract shape files and everything like that?
Is Eddie? Yeah, Eddie knows quite a bit about that.
Will this program enable us to train some of our newer folks?
Yes, absolutely. Once we get our training, it'll be 3 days on the ground, identifying, poking and prodding, identifying where the things are. Nothing's a perfect science. They said they can get within a meter or two of where the pipes are or should be. And of course you ping them and identify them and so forth. But anyway, then there's training after that to how to work the software, the GIS system, the software to keep everything updated.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Make a motion.
I have a couple things I want to point out real quick. I'm just looking at page 3 of this agreement. And under infringements, City of Devine shall indemnify CU and hold harmless by state law. We can't indemnify anyone. So we need to take that out. And then I also want to bring to the council's attention an arbitration. You're agreeing that if we have to go to court, that you're going to go to Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I can't, I'm just pointing this out. That's something that I would disagree with.
It's a lot of paid travel you get, Tom.
Have you been to Fayetteville?
Is anything like Vietnam?
So,
That's all I have. You know, if David can work that out with them, we can't identify by state law.
that's true.
And I don't think this council wants to go to Fayetteville, Arkansas. If we should come to some type of disagreement. So,
I'll make the motion that we go ahead and have David apply for the community unlimited grant for GIS mapping for the city and infrastructure, but have those two items, the indemnification and the remediation location. The location needs to be changed.
Arbitration.
But, and the arbitration needs to be changed, but we can't identify, and he knows, I mean, they probably know that. The assistant city can't do that. Anyway, that's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion from Debbie for the city to apply for the Community Unlimited Grant with the noted exceptions of the city cannot indemnify, and nor will we go to Fayetteville, Arkansas in case of arbitration. Okay, we have a second from Michael. Okay, John.
Could we negotiate maybe a remote mediation or something that doesn't require having you travel up to Fayetteville? We could still do mediation if we absolutely have to, just over some Zoom or something. That way it kind of meets in the middle. Asking them who are in Fayetteville outside come to Texas is equally unreasonable, I think.
I would think that would be covered under the motion, that we will not go to Fayetteville. Okay, then another.
They will not go to Fayetteville.
They'd have to come up with an agreeable location.
Yeah.
So, well, there would be an amendment to the motion, so make sure we're all, is that okay?
No.
No? Okay.
Because the way I put it, David gets to pick the location.
So if it kills the deal,
I doubt it will. These people have been doing this with, I'm sure, 50 states, and every state has a different type of law that has to be changed in the contract.
Well, if it kills the deal, we'll come back with it.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Everyone in favor except for Josh? Motion carries 4-1. Okay. If council approves, we'll take a 5-minute recess before agenda item number 17. Let's do it.
I see the time and stuff.
for recess.
7:49.
7:49, going into hopefully a 5-minute recess.
Going to number 16 when we get back.
Okay, we are now back in recess. Time is 7:59. Once again, I jumped the gun, I crossed my walk too early. We were actually on agenda item number 16. Consider and act upon adopting a resolution authorizing the mayor, mayor pro tem, and city secretary as signatories at our financial institutions. Tom?
Yes, Mayor. As the council will recall, we've got a considerable amount of money in PNC Bank. And when staff was talking with PNC about withdrawing that money, based upon the direction of the council, they were told that you guys need to have a resolution designating signatories for the city. So that's why this is before you now.
Got it? Yeah.
I thought we already had. I thought we had one all
I
along.
thought we had an ordinance.
It was two things. That was back in the 90s. And the second thing is that PNC wanted us to specifically name in the resolution the people who occupy these positions now. You know, we're talking close to $1 million, so they want to be very careful about what they do.
I can understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's currently authorized to sign for transactions from back in the 90s? Just curious.
It was the mayor and city secretary,
Just the mayor and
and the
city.
mayor pro tem.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
always been those three, it's just that I didn't know we didn't have a resolution, a resolution.
It's still the same, but now there's names with it and for PNC.
So it'll have to change every time we have an election.
Yeah, if we have a different group, it needs to be changed,
Yeah.
if the signatories are going to change.
Correct.
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept.
Okay, we have a motion from Josh to accept the resolution authorizing the mayor, mayor pro tem, and city secretary as signatories. We have a second from Flipper. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Mayor, that's resolution 4-24.
Resolution is 4-24. Okay, at this time, agenda item number 17 is executive session pursuant to section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Do we want to just do it here since no one is in attendance?
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. In other words, we need you to get. All right, we are now back in open session. No action was taken during the executive session. Time is 8:45. So we're at agenda item 18. We're reconvened in regular session and consider action, if any, on items discussed in executive session.
I have a motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I make a motion to authorize the city attorney to...
City administrator.
or, I'm sorry, the city administrator to further, to make further inquiries for our discussion.
Okay, we have a motion from Debbie for our city administrator to inquire about properties from our discussion.
I'll second.
Further inquiry, does it matter?
Further inquiry.
Okay, further inquiry about the property discussion. Okay, we have a second from Michael. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? You opposed? All in favor, okay. Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 19, review quarterly investment report, city account.
We're just reviewing, right?
report on anything on this?
No. Not unless y'all have questions.
I did have one. Let me find it.
Interest rates have gone up, Josh.
Next week, gas bill.
Bitcoin has also gone up a little over 100% this year.
Nope.
Okay, the question I would have would be, and I think we talked about it before, the investments in the Lone Star investment pool. We have very, very, very little in there, and it's paying 5.48%.
Correct.
Do we want to look into putting more money into the
That's,
Lone Star
once
pool?
we get the PNC monies, after we pay what we need to pay on the bank well and whatever else we were using it for, then we're moving that to the Lone Star investment.
Okay, what do you think that amount will be approximately?
When, well, it's almost $1 million in PNC,
Yeah.
so Bainwell was
145.
145, and we were going to use it for something else also.
Okay.
Oh, the water storage tank over there, too.
Not that much.
It's a bank well.
The repair. That was
Rehabilitation.
coming out.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
the
yeah,
bank-
yeah.
the bank-
Yeah,
both
repair.
things- Both things
That's on the
bank.
bank bill also.
So still a whole lot of money.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I guess
And y'all
that's,
have authorized us to move that from PNC to Lone Star investment.
okay. That sounds like a game plan. Maybe you like that? Okay. All
In
right,
the
anything
future,
else?
yes.
Okay.
Could we get current investments and then what were our investments? Well, I guess current investments and then current leftover and existing budget. And then get that over the past few years so we can see, get a general idea of where we're at as far as years past and current.
Current investments and
Yep. How much money we have available after everything is budgeted? Leftover money to spend on things? I only see accounts right here. I don't know how much we still need to spend that is budgeted. For instance, if we allocated money, well, for those hangar doors, for instance, $17,000 is budgeted, not available to allocate other places just now. So how much money is left in our budget for the year after you deduct the amount of tax money we haven't received?
That would be the revenue expense report.
That's your revenue
It shows that
versus
we're minus
expense that you get.
500,000 right now.
Is that the thing that's like 72 pages long on
Yes.
dot matrix?
But what you're asking for is actually on the first page. Not.
For general fund,
But
it's on
not
the
what
first
we have in the bank. That's one thing, and then with the other thing you're asking is on that report.
So we can't just highlight that information and compare it to years past? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we could, but I don't have access to those.
And that's what I'm asking our certified public accountant.
You got the
Send her
request?
an email, so send David
Send
an
David
email.
an email.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on the investment report? Okay. We don't need a motion to proceed, do we? Tom, it's just review the report. Do we just need to leave the one from the item?
Yes, sir.
Okay, unless there's any further discussion, we'll move on from item number 19. All right. Moving on to agenda item number 20, informational items. Anyone? Debbie, please.
So, I went to the last Chamber Commerce meeting. You guys were there.
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to report to, I didn't report last month to y'all. They're working on a business directory for the city, and they're hoping to have it done in May, and then it'll be in conjunction with a map, so it will show where all those places are. And, but hopefully in May they'll have that available They also wanted, the historical committee has meetings in April and May, and they would love for people to come. And I don't know if y'all saw the one post, I think it came out this morning or yesterday. The patriotic banners are going up for Memorial Day, and they'll go through July 4th, probably mid-July, and then the other ones will get put up. But there's 34 of them, I think. Right? I think you've made
yes,
new brackets for up to 34, so. Anyway, so, and they've got a bunch of volunteers for the Cactus Festival. They have a lot more this year for the committees, which they're very pleased about. So that's going on, that's the chamber right now. I know it's not something we really want to talk about since we already talked about the airport, but Hangar 8 and 8A have been neglected. We were talking about 10 all the time. I don't know, are we gonna get them fixed? I guess.
I believe that is in the works.
Well, yes, in January we said go fix them, but nothing that I'm aware of has been done. So I'm just asking that.
Well, we went out, okay, we got several bids, remember, and then we rebid it?
Yes, we gave it to Vortex.
Okay. Gotcha.
I kind of wanted an update on Boot Creek cleanup.
Well, Burnt Blue Creek, we're waiting on the weather.
Right.
Every time we come close, we get a bunch of rain, and it sits in there over by the bridge on Zigzag, which is the reason for the Burnt Blue cleanup, so it doesn't sit in there. And every time we come close, boom, just like the other day. And I called Danny, we talked and joked about it a little bit. We're tired, but you never curse the rain around here. So we're going to have to wait for another window for it to dry out. I've gone over there. You ought to see how muddy it is even 8 or 9 days after the rain.
And if it's not the rain, it's a water leak.
Yeah. And the water leak is contributing to the irrigation canal. So that's where we're at on that.
Okay. How about the Bain well? How close are we?
They started on the inside of the tank on Monday.
Oh, the tank, okay.
Yes.
So that, didn't she say it was gonna be like 2 or 3 weeks?
Yes.
Project?
3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, she said that they ended up starting pretty early.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came.
What about the well itself? How are we doing on that? Like, are
They're
we
still
getting close
waiting
to
on
being done?
They're still waiting on a part for that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Gotta love supply chain. How's your public works building going?
Well, they did the asbestos. They removed all the asbestos, and they have a 10-day waiting period before they get in there and knock the buildings down. So that was done on the 8th. So it should be done by the 22nd. And the delivery of the building should be done on the 23rd, so it's pretty close.
So maybe that week you'll
Yeah.
be doing something?
Yes.
Tile. Great for them to finally got their new building. Sorry.
It's the whole idea. Things move slowly sometimes.
I know. How about, we talked a little bit about zoning reform committee today. When are they having their first meeting?
April 23rd at 7 p.m.
Awesome. Is it here?
It is here, yes ma'am, because election early voting is going on at City Hall.
Yeah.
Have we advertised that on Facebook or the newspaper or anything?
It's got finalized today, no sir, I'll do that first
Thank
thing.
you.
Can you say that date one more time?
April 23rd at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
And then Pete's is gonna love me for this one. How's the electrical going in the attic at the clubhouse?
I talked to the guy. I'm trying to get it to be on a Monday when they're closed, when Charlie's daughter's closed.
Right.
But he's been so busy on Mondays, so he's asking me if I can talk to them, if it could be a day out, any day, and schedule a day where I can talk to them and they can shut down for a couple hours or whatever it takes for them to get in there.
Guess you'll have to talk to Missy about
I
that.
have to talk to Missy. Yeah.
It's just gonna cost them money.
I know that's going to be the problem.
Well, he just needs to make a Monday today and get something else off.
Okay. We can work with that.
I mean, he knew that when he bid, we gave him the bid.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the one thing at the clubhouse. Did we, because the ultimate goal is to get to this, to turn it over to the DGG, so did we get that door replaced?
That was supposed to be done with Jay. I think you haven't even talked to him, right?
Yes, he replaced the door.
He replaced the door?
Yes.
Okay.
That back door that,
Back door, yeah, that's the one with the window, right?
no.
Yes, he wanted a window in it.
Right.
Oh, he
Yeah.
wants a window in it?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, I thought it was because the thing didn't close properly.
Well, it wasn't closing properly, but they also wanted a window on the door so they could see who's coming.
Oh,
Fortunately, you run the glass shop.
right. Fancy that. And what about the AC?
The AC, I think I've gotten prices for, I think it was about 7,000, that hasn't been done yet. On the AC.
Because till that gets done, we can't turn it over.
Well, we can.
They won't accept it as
Yeah. Well,
being, yeah, it's been 2 years. Why do you think I keep bringing it up?
Can we just burn it down? This is crazy.
So you suggesting we turn over the building to them for their, okay, okay,
For
we
the
can't.
contract.
okay,
I'm
we
trying to
can't-
do this for the contract.
Yeah, we can't go into that right now. It's just got to remain informational. It's got to remain informational. We can get there.
That's why I'm just asking.
I understand. No. I was going to expand.
Oh,
I'm trying to- yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm like, I know I'm trying to be
Yeah.
good over here.
Right, that's why I said something like, wait a minute, that's going to involve proceeding further into that topic, yeah.
And I have
So-
only one more thing.
Okay,
The
sure.
streets. David, have we got any quotes on our streets?
Mr. Pete, has an answer for you, man.
Today,
So I've got one quote, I'm waiting on 2 more.
Okay.
This one's from Gilbert's Construction. He's done work for us before. The price he gave us for just a bright zigzag, and when you know, 790,336.
790?
336.
but didn't that include removal and then replacement of 2 inches of asphalt
Right.
and such?
Right.
So it's apples and oranges compared to the resurfacing that we discussed. So are we going to be able to get somebody that would just resurface like we had anticipated?
They can do the same thing. I didn't ask for those prices, I was just looking to see how much it would cost for something like that.
Yeah, so you're already double what
Right.
we had allotted, yeah. Well, we understand, yeah. So the other option would be, okay, once again, Danny's equipment is tied up through July. Okay, well, you still pay in August, September. Okay, so,
From what I understood, that we weren't going to be able to be on the schedule at all.
well, that was that's the initial, that may still be
August
true.
and September.
That may still be true, but that would be something we could possibly shoot at. Can't guarantee anything.
Right.
He may need August and September, the way their equipment's going. So, okay.
On that front, can't they scarify in the winter when they can't pave?
I'm not sure,
Well, there's temperature,
They don't want to set up right.
No, just to scarify, not to lay pavement. That way we could pay one of these guys to come out and just lay a top.
there's some kind of, there's temperature limitations of some sort.
Right, to get the tar to adhere
Yeah.
and set, that has nothing to do with scarification. That's when you're putting a grinder over it to cut down that 2 inches of base. If we were able to get Danny's equipment to do it in the winter, and everyone just deals with a bumpy road for 6 months, and then we can have someone come in at half the price just to lay fresh pavement.
How many calls do you get about our potholes right now?
It's usually...
And you want them to drive on scarified road for 6 months?
Yes.
Okay, I'm disconnecting my phone.
If it saves $500,000, absolutely.
Okay, moving on, please, because that's again, we're getting further
but I'm
into-
still waiting on 2 more quotes, so
Okay,
we'll see what they do.
lovely.
And then I talked to Rise Internet, and they were telling me they're at 85% done.
Only 85 more water lines
Hey,
ahead.
don't go stealing my thunder, man.
Yeah.
I got one thing to say tonight. Don't stealing my thunder. Stacy? Anyone?
No,
Okay, all right. Anyway, we had our, the third meeting of the community as a startup this past Thursday, and they had the results of the first survey. Almost 200 people responded, which he thought was outstanding for a town our size. And one thing that caught my eye on is one thing I'm going to talk about right now. On the questioning where it involved basically what is super important to you that your city takes care of and all that, or just things that are super important to you. Of course, number one is water, sewer, and all that good stuff. Number one. Guess what is a close second?
Safety.
Believe it or not, access to high-tech internet, fiber internet. I mean, a close second of priorities that your community has on the future development.
Scary how close it was.
I was really surprised. It was almost dead. It was almost dead. You would think that everybody would say. And of course, I think on the survey they rated. But so anyway, I found that to be pretty interesting. So once again, you know, if we can, we'll relay that to folks when we get a chance. Hang in there, man. We're almost there. Okay, and this is extremely important for us to get into the modern age and so forth. And then I got mine connected Friday, a week ago Friday. Okay, I went from, the speed went up to 200 microbits per second for both upload and download. And I have the basic package. Okay, whereas with AT&T, I was under 20 on both.
She like it blown out the window.
Whatever the heck you call it.
Megabytes. It's the upload that we're gonna see the.
I am a grandpa. Yeah, actually, I did know that, and I was thinking of something else. But anyway, megabytes per whatever, it went up to 200 from under 20 on both upload and download. So anyway, so we're on the right path, bringing Rise in here, putting everybody through this torture, because when it's all going to be over, it's going to be so much better for everybody. So, especially the gamers. So anyway, that's it for me, as far as information.
I recently attended a conference and learned some really cool things. So something I'm trying to get us plugged in with, CISA, it's the federal agency that does cybersecurity for the United States. They actually offer free cybersecurity through CrowdStrike to municipal governments of smaller size. So we might be able to get free security. That's exciting. Also, I found, it was a conference geared toward municipal governments, but AWS has a really sleek chatbot. AI, large language model, I don't know how much this lands. Anyway, you can make your own, doesn't even touch your data, but now instead of all of our folks at the city offices having to print something out, put it into a scanner to email to somebody, or give them a physical copy, you can simply type it in a chatbot, and it can look through all of your code, all international building code, all the documentation you have, and deliver an answer with the source document attached. Pretty exciting stuff. I think that's probably going to be next for RFQs and RFPs whenever we look at a new website. That's something we probably want to add in there because I think that'll take a huge load off folks back in the office there. That's all.
Cool. Well, this you from a grandpa.
Fiber.
And that's why we need high-speed internet.
There you go.
Great.
Okay, anything else? All right,
I
guys.
have a comment, please.
David has something.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank everyone for the flowers and the prayers during the loss of my father. When I went home last week, it was refreshing to see a bouquet there from friends and support colleagues here from the city of Devine, so I appreciate that. On my informational list here, Pete covered a lot of it actually. Zoning, answer your question about the zoning reform committee. I was going to update on that. Bainwell, update on that. Oak Hill Drive, spoke to the manager of Walmart once again regarding repairing the driveway. They're in the process of remodeling the entire store. It's going to be done in August. Trying to get that as part of the remodel. So I sent them the quote that we have from Brush Country Construction. First they said yes, we could do it, now they're kind of waffling back and forth, so I sent another email just yesterday, requesting another meeting, just to stay in front of them and keep this topic hot and see if we can come with some kind of deal, at least maybe 50-50 if nothing else. But anyway, I'm still working on that issue. We talked about the public works building already. No, the $2.5 million for the groundwater storage tank is going to hit the bank on April the 17th. So all the paperwork has been done and signed and all that kind of stuff. So Denise should get a confirmation on that on April the 17th. We talked about the golf course already. We have hired one new personnel in the Public Works Department, and we have hired one law enforcement personnel. They're still going through the background and all the requirements, but as of now, everything looks good. We've brought them on board. RFPs.
We lost one Public Works too, right?
We lost one in Public Works, yes. RFQs have been sent out for city attorney, IT, auditing services, and the city engineer. Closeout date for those are April 24th. So we're getting some responses on those requests for additional information. And that concludes my informational update. Anybody have any questions?
Good. We have a lot to go over this evening. So, all right. Anyone?
Josh?
I didn't even look at it.
He's always the first one to jump on it, man.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
There you go. All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? We are done here. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.